Now, I want to begin by coming right out and telling you that I don't know what the situation is actually like in Black Rock City right now with the bug infestation. I have been told quite a bit, and that is what I would like to address. Isn't it funny how much has been said and how little is known by those who aren't there? And I would like to compare that to this idea that Burning Man is the way it is portrayed in several articles that are circulating right now. A place that has become just overrun, just inundated, just infested with billionaires trying to outdo each other. And a person who has never been to the thing sees that and visualizes that and thinks that they're going to go to a place where it is just a wealth war and there's just people trying to display their affluence and outdo one another. And yes, that is an element there. And much like I was told today that the bug thing was real. A friend of mine who is on the playa right now told me there's evidence that they were there / dead ones, but it's pretty much not a thing anymore. Don't worry, it's all being blown out of proportion. That is what I heard today. I also heard today a paragraph saying it is very real and the proboscises are very sharp and the welts are crimson and burning and yeah. So that's just interesting. The spectrum of stuff that I've heard about this bug thing and the spectrum of stuff that you hear about this billionaire infestation thing. Now I have been attending the desert thing for the last 5 years, and when it comes to that, I would like to say this. Is there a culture of wealthy folks trying to outdo each other and the same classism stuff that we see in the default world? I rather hate that concept of the default world. I'm not going to veer off into that. Anyway, is there a problem at Burning Man with rich folks? Depends on your definition of a problem. Are there folks there who are tremendously wealthy? Yes. Are there some camps off on the outskirts that are barricaded in with luxurious RVs, and there are 30 Sherpas, and I've heard stories of banquet hall tables with bearskin rugs and chandeliers and shit, and servants and whatnot. I suppose that element exists. Now, when you are a magical turtle at a thing of 70,000 people, much like you are a magical turtle on a planet of 7 billion plus folks, are you going to have the observation of being overwhelmed by the amount of billionaires and venture capitalists that are just destroying the thing with how rich they are and how much they're just parading about and just sullying your whole experience? Fucking no. It's just not that way. It is Burning Man, in my observation, and this is what I love about it. It's a microcosm of how the world is. It's interesting that it's around 70,000 and around 7 billion on the planet, and really to me it is a perfect microcosm. I see the same wonderfulness and the same absolute douchery that I see in the world at Burning Man. I would go as far as to say, and I really have observed this, I see the absolute best human behavior, the most genuine kindness, generosity, sincerity, folks engaging each other without ulterior motives, just that omni-welcoming unity. I see that at Burning Man to the most intense degree I see in life. I also see some of the cuntiest behavior. I have been rooted at and rejected. In my 5 years, I've boarded like 3 art cars. I've had some really, really, really bad examples of experiences where I went to board an art car, and there might as well have been a sign that said, if you are not a pretty girl or one who is in the company of 6 of those, then you are not welcome on this thing. I pretty much have been told, you're not cool enough to be on this magical thing. But that's not, I don't characterize Burning Man by these little things. Somebody was a douche to me at the grocery store the other day. There have been situations where people have been dicks. And there are tremendously wealthy people in the world who are like sending their thousands of Sherpas to die by gunfire and explosives. There are people blowing up I don't want to take it to a super, super dark place, but there are people doing worse things than trying to outdo each other in the world. At Burning Man, if that's the... And you know what, there's a lot of the rich folks there. What I see them doing is... maybe if there's a game of trying to outdo one another, it's like who can be the most, like, ridiculously generous, and that line to your thing that you're distributing is all sorts of walks of life. And in the world, it's rare. I am yet to encounter in the world, just going about my life, I don't just rub elbows and bump into billionaires. At Burning Man, I have discovered via conversation, like hours into hanging out with somebody, that they were maybe not billion. I've had conversations with the billionaires, but not like. Anyway, isn't it funny? We're not supposed to talk about this shit at Burning Man. It's like it's supposed to be the place that you go to escape money, and I must admit I must come out of the closet of one who does not go there to escape. I love that it's like the world. And I see it as an excellent training exercise. So there was an article that I read recently entitled "Why I Am Not Going to Burning Man." And everything that was presented in that article is exactly why I must go to Burning Man. It's a perfect microcosmic training exercise for how we save the world. If you're saying that, like the one percenters are taking over the Burning Man thing, which they are so not. They're just there, and yes, they're like more of a display, I suppose. Anyway, it's silly to me to say you're gonna not go to a thing because it needs fixing. There are douchebags in this world. There are tyrants in this world. There is war and depravity and extremely shitty governance. But I'm not going to leave the planet because of that. I'm not just like, oh, people are mean. I just, yeah. And at Burning Man, they're not, it's not that they're like, or at least that's not what's being complained about, isn't like a meanness or shittiness. It's just the flashiness and the wealth. But you know what? Like I said, I don't bump into billionaires out in the world. At Burning Man, I do. I have. We do. And we don't even know it until it's brought up in conversation, that like the specifics of our lives, because that is a way in which I understand the whole default world separation from the magical land. You're here for this experience, and is that it all melts away there, or it can, you know. You ever heard the saying, you get the world you deserve, you get the burn you deserve? I mean, there's all these elements. There's some of the most magical and most wonderful things going on at the Burning Man, in the same way in the world, you know. And that my main argument is that against the default culture is that Burning Man is a part of the world, and there is extremely good and admirable and wonderful stuff, and there's dark, shitty, lazy, rudeness, and that stuff's there. But unless you're like an investigative journalist looking for all of the shittiest things about that or the world, you'll stumble into some every so often, but they don't define reality by its least lovely denominator, you know, that's silly. So back to the bugs. I've heard a lot about the bugs, and there has been an official statement from the Borg, and there have been what I consider to be more official statements from my friends that are at the thing, and there have been some lovely trolling. There was talk of many scorpions. I saw a photograph, and they said that they were eating the bugs, so now there's all these scorpions there. It reminded me of the Boo Box from the movie Hook, and I got scared, and I started thinking about putting a massive condom over my tent. Anyway, it's funny how media or words without actual observation can influence your idea of a thing. If you are a magical turtle who has never been to the Burning Man thing, I tell you that I cannot tell you how it is. But neither can the person who writes the article that says that it's just going to seed because the same stuff that's happening in reality is happening there. Now, I've only been going for 5 years, and maybe 15 years ago, it was just an absolute utopia. And you know what? I'm less interested in going to a utopia. I personally, and I don't want to sound like self-aggrandizing, I think that I know many folks who at least think this way. I don't always go out saying this, but the thing that makes life interesting for me is that I am engaged in a masturbatorily theatrical scenario of having a silly attempt at saving the world with nonsense and irreverence as my tools / weapons in the war or the effort to save / fix the world. And Burning Man has some things that some folks criticize. The world has many things that many folks think suck. One of them. There's some things about reality that suck. But, like I said, I'm not leaving reality because there's parts of it that suck. And I must go to Burning Man because there's things about it that are just as weird as the rest of the world. Feels good to say it, you know? The frivolity aspect of Burning Man is a thing that I stumble into. I go there because it's sorcery school. The international population is also the biggest draw for me. More so even than the spectacle and the magicalness and the things that I directly experience. The folks that I meet from other continents, other nations, other cultures. It's amazing. It's great. And I tell you, if you are one who has not experienced the thing yet, when you can, do and see for yourself, because there's many paragraphs out there right now about how it's just inundated and infested with billionaire insects, and it's just insexual wealth war swarms of black plague locust fucking stuff going on. But you gotta see for yourself. Maybe bring DEET, although I've heard it's ineffective against... I've heard many things. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I love you all just for existing. I will see you in the dust and the bug corpses, or just out in the world, because it's all magical. Or at least, I want it to be magical, and you get the amount of magicality that you seek in this world. So, yeah. 开窍。